This is a podcast or something like that. Hello and welcome to the 57th episode of the Verbal Journal podcast. I'm clicking, I'm pushing keys, I am pulling up the agenda today. Last week was absolutely a blowout episode, Saturday episode, so very special, and meaning I've had one extra day to prepare for today's episode because it's Sunday now. So with that one extra day, let's just say I've gotten up to some very special things that will be especially revealed. Might not be as long as last week's episode. Last week was an especially long episode. It was the, by the way, this is episode 57. Welcome. Episode 57 Verbal Journal podcast. Last episode, episode 56, was the how do I put this? It was the first time I hit an hour on the episode. It was the first episode to go over an hour since episode 25. So that's a whole 31 episodes in between, right? Because 56 to 25. So that's 31 episodes I did without hitting an hour. I had just sort of, moderated my own expectations for myself. But last episode, we did go over an hour. And so that was the first time since July 16th of last year. That's quite a long time, actually. That's 2/3 of a year. So without going an hour-long episode. So, by the way, that episode 25 on July 16th of 2023 was the third episode in a row to break an hour. So July was just a wild month podcast-wise. I guess one of those must have been before, right? Because no, they all would have been in July, right? 16, 9, and 2 if I did them regularly, as I often do, but have lately not. So, yeah. That was the last time I hit an hour-long episode since episode 25, which was on July 16th, 2023, and was my third episode in a row to break an hour. Thank you very much to Reginald, my data guy, for furnishing that data. Reginald was introduced last episode, listeners will remember, and I'm bringing him back. So that's 2 Reginalds in a row. Now, that's something Reginald's going to keep track of, let me tell you that. Next up, this is just going over the news, the biggest news of the last week. This webpage is like not, you ever go to a webpage and like you can't scroll on it? Like it just like, you can only see the top. Oh. Well, I got a text message. Let's see if it's anything related to the episode. Oh, my friends are going biking. Okay. That's a pretty good offer. I'll have to think about that. I should probably do stuff like that. You know what I mean? I sometimes don't, though. Sometimes I like to go biking. Other times I like to paint or, just... I spend a little too much time alone. I think it's fair to say. So that is something I'm always trying to do less of, spend less time alone. But, at the end of the day, it's night, and then you go to bed and start up the next day. So... No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's good to have a variety of things and just kind of follow your heart and do what you want to do. Sometimes it's hard to know what you want to do, and you're like, oh, I should do this, I should do that. And sometimes you really should, you know what I mean? Sometimes what you want to do actually isn't that important, and you should override your lack of desire, for chores or for this and that. But on the other hand, I do feel like you could, with the right thought process, you can generate that want and that desire, even for obligations. If I go spend the weekend with my, grandparent who's sick or something, like, do I want to do that? It's like, well, yes and no. I mean, compared to what? I mean, compared to my grandparent being healthy and having other things that are fun going on, sure, I'd rather do the latter. But compared to the reality and me not doing this, no, I don't want it. You know what I mean? Yes, I do want to do it. No, I don't want to not do it, I guess. So yes, I do want to do it. Are you following this? Is this a good way to introduce the episode? with an extended tangent based on a text message I got while I couldn't get a web page to load correctly and still can't. Let's see if I can get that web page to load differently, because boy, it is the article, it is the news everyone's been talking about. No, it's not loading correctly. Okay, let me try searching the headline of the article and reloading a new version of the page. That's not loading correctly either. Artnet.com. Is this just a Chrome problem? Let me try it in a different browser. Let's fucking, I don't know, Edge or something. And then you open it and it's like, I'm so happy you're back. Oh, wait. Oops, I closed it out by accident. I kind of still, that's a YouTube video that's about how, wow, this page, I just can't, it like doesn't load correctly. If you want to look it up at home, it's the article, A Man Sues a Museum Over Its Women's Only Exhibition. It says Kersha Kacelli's Ladies Lounge installation has landed the artist and museum in court. A women's only exhibition, and I can't read any of the text because I can't scroll. I can just zoom out. A luxurious spot for dining and art created by artist Kersha Kacelli at Tasmania's Museum of Old and New Art, Mona Museum of Old and New Art. That's a great name. Has landed they don't have art from an average amount of time ago, though. Let me tell you, that's the one downside. Has landed the museum and the artist in court. Visiting the ladies' lounge for high tea involves being waited on by a butler, peering at priceless art, sipping 400-year-old wines, and savoring preposterous morsels prepared by the museum's executive chef, Vince Trim. And I can't read him. Oh, I almost can. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can read this. Because I'm having to scroll out so I can read it because I can't scroll down. You know what I mean? So I'm zooming out. Just don't plan to visit if you're a man, because in keeping with the piece's title, only women are allowed. Okay, so I don't need to read anymore. That's pretty much all we needed to know. Just needed to understand whether I was understanding this correctly. That's interesting, right? And what do I think of that, right, is what we're all here to find out. Hold on, I'm just... Reginald's chatting with me. I'm doing the episode now, Reginald. You feel like you should know that. Okay, yeah. Look, he wanted some data. He wanted some qualitative data on how I was feeling about the episode so far. You don't gather data like that while I'm recording, Reginald. So yeah, that's interesting. What do I think about that? Well, an exhibit where only women are allowed to have these nice things. Well, first thing that come to my mind is, that does sound like a very interesting exhibit, forgetting the gender side already. So they have people come in and enjoy these very nice things, very old, what did they say? Whiskey or something? Some sort of, and then old beverages, priceless. And they said peering at priceless art. So that makes me think you only get to see it from far away or an angle. That's very interesting. I would love that. That reminds me of Marcel Duchamp's, étant donné, given the what's it called? Given the waterfall. Given one the waterfall, two the illuminating glass. Is it gas? Hold on, gas. I'm sorry, gas. Of course, glass is his piece, the large glass. But yeah, that masterpiece that Duchamp worked on for 1 or 2 decades, in secret with only his wife knowing. Was something where you look through a limited sort of through a hole in a wall is how it, or a hole in a door is how it came out to be. And I guess when he was working on it, I don't know exactly how he had that rigged up, but the whole idea is that he put a ton of time into this piece, but then you can only see it through a tiny hole in a door, which is interesting. So I don't know if they did that at this exhibit in Tasmania, but it sounds cool. The idea of a women's only exhibit, it's obviously a gimmick type of thing. But not, I guess, right? Cause you could say, oh, it's a gimmick, but is it actually? Cause there's kind of nothing wrong with, in my opinion, with people wanting a space for just their own folk, and that it's an art piece. So it's not even about that. But even if it was just a women's only coffee house, I don't know if you're legally allowed to have that. And because I guess, the precedent could get sort of abused by, if that was if you were legally allowed to segregate. But you probably are allowed to have women's only. You're allowed to probably have women's only events at a coffee house. You know what I mean? Like why am I saying coffee house? Cafe. But like, there's just, maybe there's a difference between like designating an entire like location. Cause that, in that way you're sort of, it feels like people, well, I don't know. I almost don't believe that like people should be able to own pieces of property anyways. But if they are allowed to own them, it seems like restricting them based on demographics in terms of the access is like not valid. But then again, you do have like, the DMV. Well, I was going to give a weird example. Well, I guess you can kind of go there even if you, I was going to say you have to have something wrong with your car or you have to have, something to do with your car going on if you want to go to the DMV. But of course you don't. You can just hang out at the DMV presumably. But in this case, it's an art museum, so it's not even something like, it's not a gas station for women, you know what I mean? Where like men have to fucking drive 5 more miles to get gas. Like, it's a fucking art exhibit, and that's part of the exhibit is that it's for women. I assume you can do it for men too. Go ahead. If you're a male artist or any type of artist, go pitch an idea and have it be for men. You can do that. You can do exhibits for black people. You could probably do exhibits for white people. You would just look like an idiot. You know what I mean? I don't see why you couldn't do it. It would just be very weird because what does it mean historically? Just like what does it mean for a person of color to paint their face white to look like a white person? Surely it has some associations. I don't honestly know what they are off the top of my head. And then what does it mean for a white person to paint their face black? Well, it actually depends on where you are, obviously. But anyways, there's just different meanings when you segregate differently. Things are, as the YouTube channel John the Duncan says, different things are different. And so, obviously I don't really have, much of a problem with this exhibit. I think it's fine. I think it's a good idea. Why not? Who cares? And I'm sure whoever sued the artist for that is going to suffer karmically on a massive level. And I really feel sorry for that. I feel sorry that they've brought that on themselves with such horrible behavior. Welcome to the Verbal Journal podcast. That was our first topic, just the news of the day that everyone is talking about. I hope you found that fascinating. Let me know. Write into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. We will read the many people who wrote in towards the end of the episode. So look forward to that. Oh, yeah. I forgot to say that the first thing to come to my mind with that exhibit was like, what if the exhibit wasn't nice things and instead it was like only women can come, but you have to like put, what the exhibit is that you put a actual bag full of real trash and you dump it on each other, and only women can do it, but you're dumping trash on each other. And it's a metaphor, Hold on. Another text message interruption. This is becoming a new segment. Okay, right. So my friend, you might remember I used to go to poker on Sundays, and sometimes I would talk about that. So that started up. I went last week. It was super fun. I'll probably go tonight. And my friend texted the group chat, a new group chat. It's always a new group chat. People are coming and going. It says, poker tonight. Then an hour later, I responded, nice. When and where? Because, we did do it somewhere different last time than we used to. So, and then they said, same place, same time. And then they followed up half an hour later with the time. So that's just funny. I love how people communicate, Someone goes, poker tonight. I'm like, that's great. All I need to know is the location and then also what time it will be taking place at. And then we are good to go. Okay, so huge news. I love to talk about the rare occasions when I watch a film. I'm a connoisseur of film. People follow my YouTube channel for my enlightened perspectives on media. I'm known as one of the most literate media critics in existence. That's quoted in the New York Times. Well, I've recently seen one of the major films of our time. It's not new. It's been around for a bit of a while, about almost 2 decades ish. Let me check that. It's been out for no, I'm sorry, that's not right. It's been out for 15 years, a decade and a half. And this film is called Paul Blart Mall Cop. That's the title, Paul Blart Mall Cop. I've always been intrigued by this film and wondered about it, and thought, wow, what does that mean? What does that title mean? It's such an intriguing title. It kind of pulls you in, right? Paul Blart Mall Cop. It's beautiful to say. I would say it rolls off the tongue, but it's sort of the opposite. It doesn't roll off. It anti-rolls off the tongue. Paul Blart Mall Cop. It rolls off the lips, basically. It doesn't roll. It like bounces off the lips, Instead of rolling off the tongue, it bounces off the lips. Paul Blart Mall Cop. It's just so inconvenient to say. It's but it's like Sylvia Plath level poetry. And I'm only slightly joking because it really does remind me of Sylvia Plath's poetry where, my love set me going like a fat golden watch or something. Fat golden watch. Paul Blart Mall Cop, Or what is that? Hold on. What's that famous poem she has? Oh, I forgot I had a Kandinsky book. I should read that. What's that famous poem? She just uses spondies in a similar way. Spondee is when you have two syllables and both are accented. So like seatbelt instead of like an iamb, right? Where it's like the clouds. It's not the clouds, it's the clouds, or like heaven. It's not heaven, it's heaven. You have the first syllable accented and the second one not accented. Exceptional. Soft, hard, or whatever. Exceptional. Exceptional. Yeah. So... But yeah, I like the spondies. Paul Blart Mall Cop. Every single syllable is accented. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sylvia Plath is not known for that. It's just something I... Gilled like a fish, a common sense thumbs down on the dodo's mode, wrapped up in yourself like a spool, trawling your dark as owls do, mute as a turnip from the 4th of July to All Fool's Day. Oh, high riser, my little loaf, vague as a fog and looked for like mail, farther off than Australia, bent-backed Atlas, our traveled prawn. Damn, yo. She's fucking... Yeah, she was good. Yeah, I was reading some Eminem 2 podcasts ago, and now I'm reading Sylvia Plath. So just love to have the artistic evolution. So Paul Blart Mall Cop, okay? Well, the title's intriguing. We've covered that. The beautiful poetry of it. Now, did I take notes watching the film, even though I was watching it with my close friend who was visiting me, as I mentioned last podcast? And it's ridiculous to take notes watching a movie with your friend. Yes, I did. My friend was down. He was giving me his thoughts and perspectives, and we were working together. It's a fascinating movie. So I don't know. I don't want to, I might eventually make a video about it, but it's just like, basically, it kind of takes a turn a little bit. It's been a long time. I don't remember the trailers. I'm sure the trailers show this, but it basically goes from being a romance into an action movie, but it's a romance action movie. And the hero's a mall cop, so it's supposed to be, funny in that way. And it is, but it's also like Home Alone is the thing I kept telling my friend. It feels like you're in like a Home Alone movie. He's not at home, but he's at the mall, which is like his home. He lives with his mom and daughter, and then he meets a woman who works at the mall, and just like, in several days, I believe they're engaged. I forget how many days the movie takes place over, but it's not that many days. And, but then, in the midst of that, like just as they're getting to know each other, this is such a weird way to describe the film. But like as they're getting to know each other, there's this big event that takes place. I don't want to spoil anything, but um, it's like an action type movie, and there's this, the second half of the movie, there's this hostage situation that he's working on, and I don't know exactly if I will make a video about it, because it would mostly just be to. I don't really know my angle, really. Like, it wouldn't be worth just pointing out how ridiculous it is, how quickly the movie moves, and how, it's, a little bit unrealistic that the love interest, the woman, Amy, wants to get with him after some of the stuff that he does. But it's sort of like, because of his heroic act, during the action part, she kind of forgets how much he fucked up the romance part. And so, like, he sort of just gets, I guess she falls for him. It makes no sense. I guess I got to see part 2. I know there's a second one. But yeah, so that, what else is there to say? Like, so it's a little unrealistic. I have to look up whether they portray hypoglycemia accurately. It seems a little bit, but it could just be a severe case. And then it is very predictable. I did predict how it would end, where he gets offered a position on the police force, but he turns it down to remain a mall cop. That's just very, very predictable. But yeah, you're not going to make a video to say Paul Blart Mall Cop is predictable. But there's something so intriguing about it. Like, just, the comedy, I sort of couldn't tell whether Kevin James was nailing it sometimes or flubbing it. My friend said he thought Kevin James was doing a fairly good job, which I think it's fair. I definitely think Kevin James has like comedic chops, and there were aspects of the movie that were well written, in terms of some of the dialogue and some of the plot twists or whatever. But but I couldn't tell whether the romantic stuff was supposed to be satirical in the beginning. Like, there were parts of it that might have been over the top for sure. Like, he runs into a car, like, he walks into a car that's parked in the mall. You know how they do that? And then he walks into a car, and then, that's his meet cute with her, sort of. That's not why I'm surprised she ends up with him. It's more because, they all go out to a bar, and he just makes a horrible fool of himself in a way that's not just being drunk. Like, I definitely am not like one of those people to say everything you say drunk is what you actually believe and think. I certainly don't think that about everything you say drunk. But it's a little bit more intentional than like what you dream. A little bit, or it's a little bit more representative of where you're at than what you dream, or for instance. And like what you do when you're drunk, and what you say, it's all relative. Your impulse control might be worse. Obviously, you might have worse self-regulation and stuff, and self-control. But like, if you are racist or misogynistic, like that's probably not the alcohol, right? If you're very mean, that's probably not just the alcohol, and you should probably stop drinking and also work on whatever's making you mean. You know what I mean? Like, alcohol doesn't really do that. There are some dimensions of behavior that I think you just have to find other sources for. It doesn't mean the alcohol isn't contributing. It just might not be the main thing. Not that Paul Blart Mall Cop is racist, but it's sort of misogynistic. Like, the way he talks to her is like, oh, we're already together. And he's like making very uncomfortable remarks, like stuff that would really turn someone off. I don't think, even if you saved their life from a hostage situation, I think they would just be like, that further is evidence that you are obsessed with me, and I'm just glad it saved my life this time, but I'm not going to be there for what comes next from this obsession. But we literally learned almost nothing about Amy. My friend agreed with me on that. Like, I don't think we learned anything about Amy. So we have really no idea why she likes Kevin James, except that, he's a good looking guy, and he's got a handsome sort of way about him, and he's nice. He's safe, presumably. Presumably. He really does know how to be violent with those bad guys. And it's sort of like a family movie. So you're like, did he just kill that guy? Or just everyone's just knocked out? It's like a fucking, family friendly video game or something. Everyone's just knocked out. And you're like, okay, that looks really violent. Like, is he, like, what's going on? So, I mean, obviously. But the big question was, does Paul Blart Mall Cop say ACAB? That was the big question. Does Paul Blart Mall Cop say ACAB or not? And with some of the twists, it's tempting to say, it's tempting to say, oh, hell yeah. I'm joking. It's certainly propaganda. I mean, it's this whole, like, the bad guy's motive is just so wild and over the top. Okay, I could probably make a video about this. The bad guy's motive is so over the top, and, like, just their plan and what they do is wild with the mall. I wonder if anything like that has ever been done. It's, like, wild. I mean, taking hostages, I guess, is, like, a wild thing. But it's funny. I could compare it to Better Call Saul with the robbing the mall thing. You know what I mean? Oh, shit. I got to write that down, actually. I really have to write that down. I won't forget that. Okay. I just need to believe in myself. But anyways, their plan is over the top, and then it's like this individualistic, the guy saves them, with some help from the police and some hindrance from the police, of course, because they're like, ACAB. That's Paul Blart. This is my impression of Paul Blart and Mall Cop. ACAB. All right, so what else do we have on the agenda? Next up is the Grind My Gears segment, the Grinds My Gears segment. Okay, so this is a new segment. This is only the third installment, I believe. Is it the fourth? No. I think it's let me check on that. It is because I know, I'll just know. The Grinds My Gears segment introduction was on episode 54. So this would be the fourth. This is the fourth episode. Great. So fourth episode, Grinds My Gears segment, when trailers for shows or movies have characters in them responding to quotes in the trailer about the show and movie. So you're watching a trailer, we've all seen this, and the trailer cuts to like a quote from like the Variety, and Variety's like, an extremely amazing film, and then the trailer cuts to a character and going, you can say that again. It's such a corny bit. I don't know how you do that anymore at this point. It was corny the fucking moment it started. That was such a corny bit. So and I don't really like trailers, and that could be a whole Grinds My Gears segment in itself, but I don't even like trailers. Oh, okay, that's what I'll talk about next time. We'll talk about trailers, and this was just a trailer for that Grinds My Gears segment, which we'll be talking about trailers. Okay. So the next up is the chess segment, which is now optional. And, there's a big tournament going on, Grenke chess. Magnus is there, Ding is there, Richard Rapport, a lot of other big names. I haven't been watching it, so I don't have anything to say about it. So I will decline talking about it. Soon, the candidates tournament, I believe in the next week, will be starting, which is a tournament where the winner plays in the next World Championship against a world champion, Ding Liren. So I will be following the candidates tournament for sure. So we'll talk about that. Should I check in with Hans Niemann? No, forget about it. Well, he's this chess player, content creator. We'll come back to him. We talked a lot about desks last time. Desks. Okay, we talked about desks. We talked about desks, and there was a lot of desk talk. So this time I was told, hey, if you're going to talk about desks, keep it towards the end of the episode, okay? I said, okay, fine. So this is the media desk. We have media desk. I'm going to analyze a commercial You may know I used to talk about the Golden State Warriors, and I used to watch them. I didn't watch them this season. I got completely turned off with them. I don't watch basketball that much anymore, and I'm so happy baseball season started up. That's the best thing. This past week, baseball season started up. Thursday, and then it's been every day. And I love baseball, and I'll watch teams I don't know anything about. I just love the feeling of baseball. One day I might make a video about it. There's just so much to love. I love it so much. But I did talk a bit about Draymond Green and how he had these violent incidents and how him and the organization did a bad job of taking accountability for his incidents and his behavior. And I was watching the NCAA tournament with my friend, and there is now a commercial. It's been around for, I think, a little bit now. It's an AT&T commercial with Draymond Green. And it is, so basically in it, you see him at an AT&T store, okay? And he's like getting his phone checked out. Nice phone. Thanks. Or no, I'm sorry. He's at a fast food restaurant, and the person working there is on their phone looking at a picture of Draymond Green smiling and dunking in a green jersey, frankly. What jersey is that? Is that his college? That's Draymond Green during college. And because it's during the NCAA. Yeah, that's his college. Wow. So this young person at a food restaurant is looking at a zoomed in image of Draymond Green in college when he was also number 23. Right, he's still number 23, right? Which is such a wild thing to me. It's like, yeah, we get it. You like Michael Jordan. I mean, just okay. I bet he's like, it has nothing to do with Michael Jordan. It's because I think for 2 seconds before I do something that will affect me for 3 months. That joke is kind of a stretch. Anyway, so he's at this fast food restaurant. The young person is looking at and circling an image of Draymond Green in college dunking. She's circling the number 23 on his jersey. He's also wearing his college jersey under a jean jacket in this commercial. I didn't realize any of this before I just pulled it up. Then she shows him her phone, seemingly willing, this is hilarious, seemingly willing to show him readily the image. The image is still on. You can clearly see in the phone that she gives him, the image is still on, an image of him dunking. All he said was nice phone. He didn't seemingly even know that it was an image of him that she was looking at. Actually, he almost definitely didn't based on the angle of the shot. But he's wearing the jersey he's wearing in the image she's looking at. Then she hands him the phone without saying anything about the fact that she's been looking at an image. And by the way, you can look this up. It's called Draymond Green's Choice, AT&T. Posted 12 days ago on YouTube, 10K views. So she doesn't even mention, oh, yeah, isn't it funny? I was just looking at a picture of you and a picture of you in that jersey, Draymond Green, famous basketball player. It's not even mentioned. Okay, let's keep watching. We've looked at 3 seconds of the video. AT&T gave me their best deal and my choice of plan. She just talks about AT&T, even though she's handing him a phone with a picture of him on it that no one's acknowledging. Choices are amazing, aren't they? He says choices are amazing. She's randomly telling him about AT&T. I get it, it's a commercial, but she's telling him about AT&T. He just goes, choices are amazing. Now you'll see why that is. You'll see why he's abstracting from the specifics here. Choices are amazing. He's like making it really real. He goes, 1 minute you're making all the right ones, and everyone loves you. Then you make a bad one, then a good one. And she's counting off on her fingers the choices he's making, which is funny. And I don't know if you can hear the commercial super well. That's why I'm telling you what he's saying. He's saying you make another questionable choice. Soon, keep in mind, he punched a player on his own team. Was it last season, right? Punched Jordan Poole, who's no longer on the Golden State Warriors. The star young person on the Golden State Warriors. And who did he choke out? Was it Nurkic? Did he choke out Nurkic? He punched Rudy Gobert, right? Or I don't know, Rudy Gobert's got his own stuff. I mean, he's just had so many incidents. And, yeah, I mean, he just isn't it good for the organization to stand by him? Is it? I don't know. He's fine. He has a lot of money. It's like, at the end of the day, y'all, like, if someone like Draymond Green or just a different person can't be an NBA player, that's okay. You know what I mean? We have this fear of, like, people having to lose their careers. Like, someone like Draymond Green is fine. You know what I mean? And even you, if you ever something happened to you and you lost your career, you could find other ways to make a living. Like, and it's just, I'm not saying it's not a big deal, but like, we have this sort of preconception, oh, things can't change. Draymond Green could go do anything. There's a million. He probably doesn't need to work a day in his life, but like, he could be a basketball coach, which would be probably not the first choice of what I would say he should do. He could work at a restaurant like the one he's patronizing in this video. Like, he could do a million different things. He could be a consultant for, investments related to sports. Like, he could do a million different things. So, at the end of the day, it's like, should his employer stand by him? He punched his teammate. So should they stand by him? Like, yeah, he had some consequences. Like, I don't know. Well, I don't watch them anymore. I wasn't like a diehard from birth fan, but he turned me off the entire organization. I would say he's tanked the entire organization. Okay, let's keep watching because the commercial. So he's saying, oh, you do a good choice, then you do a bad choice, bad choice, bad choice, good choice, bad choice, and then they're all bad. And then he goes, and then you're left with just one choice. Keep in mind, he is staring into the camera. He's holding a mic, staring into the camera. Apparently it looks like a cheap mic, but it might just look like a cheap mic. And he's staring into the camera, okay? He shouldn't be doing this. My friend made the joke when we were watching this that I was like, Draymond Green's doing a commercial? And he goes, well, no, this is actually, he's mandated to do this. So he goes, you're, like, as part of his consequences for his misbehavior in the NBA. So he's looking into the camera. He goes, then you're left with just one choice. And that's to grow. And he's still looking in the camera and he's sort of shrugging. Next up, your choice plan AT&T's best deals, guaranteed. So AT&T said, we want to do a thing with Draymond Green where it's about his redemption and his ability to grow. That's what we want. We want to be associated with Draymond Green. What is going on here? I mean, as someone who literally watched the Warriors like many, many games in the last couple of years, that just is such a bad look. I mean, growth does not need to be monetized. I mean, really, is he seriously making a bag from this commercial? Like, that's shocking. Anyways, this has been the Media Desk. That's been your analysis of media. Fantasy Desk. So my fantasy baseball team started up. I'm in the last day. So Sundays are cool to do the fantasy because it is actually the last day of each weekly matchup. You play against one other person, one other team, and then it's like you get a whole week of collecting points with your players, and whoever has the most points at the end of the week, wins. So that's, excuse me, that's, pretty cool. And so, yeah, I'm because every Sunday I'll be able to say, oh, this is like the last day, am I going to win or am I going to lose my matchup? So I'm up 15 points, which is pretty good, but it's not a big buffer. And my opponent has someone pitching today. Only one person. Oh, no, they have two people already pitching. Whoa, one of them had a bad start. Yes. Okay, that's good. They already gave up. Yeah, because I need their pitchers to have bad starts because you can get a lot of points with pitchers when they have a good start. Okay, so that's going to be interesting. We're going to see they have two more pitchers to go. Yeah. So I could really lose. But I need, I got a lot of my players are on the Dodgers. They'll be playing at 7 p.m. Like, we'll see. So I'll let you know next week, and that's the Fantasy Desk. And record-setting desk. So we don't talk about sports anymore, but we do talk about other things. That Media Desk segment was not about sports. That was about the media. But this is the record-setting desk. So this is the desk where we talk about records that are set. Okay, so it says Diamondbacks hammer Rockies with opening day record 14-run innings. So the Arizona Diamondbacks got their season started with an offensive flourish, scoring 14 runs in the third inning of their 16-1 opening day win over the Colorado Rockies Thursday night. So 14 runs in one inning is the most in an inning on opening day for any team since the year 1900. So that's pretty good. That is the record-setting desk, not the sports desk. We would never talk about sports. And then let's now check the mailbag before we go. So you can write into verbaljournalpodcast@gmail.com. We get a lot of people writing in. I'm always answering questions. People ask very insightful questions, very interesting comments, very cool propositions. Whoa, we got several people writing in. Oh, wow. So here we go. Sam writes in and says, the subject line is security alert, but not from Google this time. Wow, that's really funny. That is because oftentimes Google writes in about security issues. Wow. So Sam writes in and says, Ballyhoo, what's therapy? I've just gone back and listened to each of your podcasts in order. It was really fun. Wow, that is amazing. That's just so amazing to hear. Your sense of humor and your sense of fairness kept me coming back for more. Wow. I'm really intrigued by sense of fairness. Feel free to let me know what you meant by that, Sam. I would be very interested. I would be fairly interested in understanding that. That really is amazing to me, like listening to all the podcast episodes. I mean, I really am very proud of this podcast, and I do have a lot of fun with it, and it's been very cool. I really do put effort into it, you know? And I think it's good because I'll just say a quick pause before we go back to Sam's email. I do actually feel slightly bad about not making videos and stuff. Not very bad, and I don't actually feel net bad, but there's a little bit of bad feeling. I know it would be really cool. I want to put more effort into it. I've just been having a lot of fun doing other stuff and just not really working on videos or of really any kind. So just know that if you love my stuff, I'm doing well, and I will do more eventually online, but I've just been enjoying, other avenues of creativity. And Sam says some other very nice stuff, and thank you so much. Yeah, I try to keep it low key, and I appreciate that I connect with people. Feel free to let me know what you meant by my sense of fairness, because I would love to dig more, to fish more for that compliment, because that seems nice. What is this? I sent myself an article. Oh, God. Is this about sports? Oh, no. This is about employer-employee relations. It's an article in Sportico. Oh, it's Sportico.com, and it says women's basketball hosts get home edge while NCAA keeps the cash. Why did I send myself this? Sunday night's selection for the women's edition of March Madness comes with a unique advantage the men don't get. For the first two rounds, the top 16 seeds will play on their home courts. Yeah, right. That was interesting to me. I was watching some women's basketball and I was like, wait a second. They don't do that, right? So they do that for some of the women's games. That's just interesting. I mean, the women's tradition of playing early rounds at the higher seeds barns, but they mean, courts, began in 2015 in an effort to boost attendance after 11 years of neutral court rounds saw lackluster. Yeah, because you're making people travel to a neutral court. You should just give it to the higher ranked team for sure. That's how you're going to get people out to these, early, because it's, the school needs support. It's a big deal for them to make March Madness, but that doesn't mean necessarily people are going to come out to a neutral court. Just let the higher ranked team host it. Okay. So that's about employer-employee relations. Fuck. That one was really tenuous, I gotta say. Because I was surprised by what the article was, so I didn't really describe it accurately, so it sort of seemed like a sports desk. I'm going to get in trouble for that. And we have another email. So this is from yesterday. Sam's email was from a week ago. Sass's email is from yesterday. So Sass writes in and says, pod question. Hello there, Mr. Therapy. I have a question for the pod. What is your opinion on Bionicles? Thanks, Sassafras. I don't usually like to talk about serious subjects on the pod. I like to try to keep it light, but if you're going to insist that I talk about that, since the dawn of time, Bionicles. Oh, okay, Bionicles. No, yeah, Bionicles are cool. I don't think I had them as a kid. I remember wanting them. I think I had just like similar toys. I honestly straight up might have had Bionicles. Well, I think I had Transformers. That doesn't sound right. I think they're called that, Transformers. And the Bionicles, I might have had a few. No, I definitely had a few Bionicles. I had 2 or 3 Bionicles. Let me look them up really quick. Okay, now it's coming back to me. I definitely got a few of those Bionicles. I feel like I might have even had them in the can sort of shape thing. Was that before the box? I'm pretty sure I might have had the can before the box. Bionicles can before box, question mark? I don't know. Write in, let me know which came first, Bionicle wise. See, I'm coming up with these ways to be like, oh, write back to me about that small point. You know what I mean? So I get people to keep writing back in. No, write back with any other stuff too. Just totally, other things. I'm a wealth of information here. I'm a massive amount of wealth of information. You can hear all the different desks and stuff. You think it's easy to manage this many desks? So anyways, my opinion on Bionicles is that they're cool and fun. I hope they haven't done any like messed up stuff that I don't know about. If they have, then I disavow. I fully disavow. Thanks so much for listening, y'all. This was a pleasure. Yeah, I know we're not breaking an hour again, Reginald. Why do you care about that? You're just supposed to be tracking the data. I didn't know you cared about that. I thought you were just telling me because it was interesting data-wise. Now I know that you're massively emotionally invested. It kind of affects how I see you data-wise. I don't care if we go over an hour. That's never been the goal. That's why it was an interesting fact. And it hadn't happened since July. Anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for listening, I guess. And I hope you have a good rest of your day or night or whatever. And feel free to, check out the playlist of other episodes if you want a convenient way to listen to them. That should be available whether you're a YouTube member or Patreon patron. I just kind of scroll back a little bit. You'll see I posted it. And I'll see you probably next week and, hopefully on Sunday. But as always, there's, uncertainty. There's uncertainty in life. Okay. Goodbye and farewell. This is a podcast or something like that.